What a player Javokhir Sindarov had become. Today he crushed Praggnanandhaa in round 10 of FIDE Candidates 2026 with 98% accuracy. Now he's 8 out of 10, gaining almost 29 rating, the performance of almost 3000, and he reached number 5 in the world with gaining 29 rating. He's now 2773, almost 2774, and his chances to win this event had become 94%. By statistics, he now has 94% chance to win this event. 4 rounds to go. It's unbelievable. Even in betting website, his chance is 97%. Like it's crazy. It's almost saying that Sindarov is just going to win this event. And in today's video, we are going to analyze his game against Praggnanandhaa to see what happened in this fantastic chess game. Sindarov is playing with the white pieces, and normally when you are in this kind of situation, you are just trying to make some draws and wait for your opponents, for the other players to see what they are doing. But not for Sindarov. He's not that kind of player. He's just going for the fight. In some cases, he's just reminding me of young Garry Kasparov. Not like him, not as much power as Kasparov had, but somehow similar. He's just playing for dynamic positions, and he's playing for very aggressive kind of chess. Knight f3, d5, knight c3, and knight d7. Credits to Praggnanandhaa that in this game he prepared something very interesting and put up a fight against Sindarov with the black pieces. Bishop to b4, somehow like Ragozin kind of setups, trying to come with knight d4. It's a very dynamic setup. And after e3, black goes for knight d4, pinning this knight and attacking it. White goes queen c2 and black goes g5, bishop g3, h5. They are coming, and it's of course risky. Black is doing this, it's of course risky, and both of them are in their preps. h3 is a move, but Sindarov goes for bishop d3. Praggnanandhaa doesn't care, he just goes for h4. And now Sindarov takes here. So basically, if you take here, I will also take on d5. But Prag just takes here and sacrifice a pawn with a check. King goes to f8, and now this bishop has nowhere to go but e5. But now f6, trapping the bishop. I don't know how much of this was prep, but I guess probably Sindarov is out of prep right now, but still Praggnanandhaa is in his own preps. Sindarov is like Jan Nepomniachtchi. He's playing so fast. You never know, is he in his preps or not. He's not a overthinker for sure. He just plays instinctively by his intuition, and he just goes for it. In this position, if many players in this position maybe spend more than half an hour and think what's the right move to do, but Sindarov just plays knight takes g5 after 11 minutes of thinking, which is the best move to go. And in this position, white threatens knight d6 check. You cannot take the bishop because knight d6. You cannot take the knight because of bishop takes h8. But Prag had this preparation to take here, and now knight takes e5. Now there is no knight d6 check because of bishop takes e6. Sindarov take back, and we have f takes g5. I guess this is all prep by Prag 147, but knowing Sindarov, I guess it's not in his prep. Maybe he knows some positions, familiar positions. There are 2700 super GMs. Maybe he had some analysis he forgot, but I guess it's not his preparation. And here he goes for f4. Once again, the best move in the position. To be honest, still here, it's not so difficult. And Prag plays h3. I mean, in no world you play h3 without preparation. For me, it's like this. h3 is in the preparations, and it's a very nice move. And the idea is basically to open up this position, and if white goes g3, black has this nice idea, queen to d7, bringing the queen to c6. For example, after rook d1, he can go queen c6, and you cannot run away with your queen. The queen trade is inevitable, and if you go rook d8, there is just king g7. You might trade, but there is nothing for white in this position. So h3 is a very nice idea, but Sindarov is out of prep in this game, and like Nakamura in his game against Sindarov was in a position that it was very hard to play when you are out of prep, but this game is also very hard. Imagine Imagine Sindarov was out of prep after something like this, like king f8, and he didn't know what to do, and he found all of the moves over the board. Like, I don't say they are so much difficult, but still it's a very sharp position, and you need to know that this position is not bad. You need to have this understanding. f4 once again, and after h3, look how many options are here, and he still finds the best move. And I don't know, maybe Prag is out of prep right now. He just plays queen e7. After half an hour of thinking, he goes queen e7, which is the best move. Queen e8 was also possible, but he goes for queen e7. And Sindarov goes for g3. Once again, the best move by engine. At least the engine of chess.com says so. And in this position, maybe bishop g4, attacking the rook, rook coming to d4, and some strange lines. But Prag takes on f4, which is not the best move. I told you maybe bishop here, maybe queen c5, but there are so many options in this position, and if you don't have preparations, it's very hard to play. So g takes f4. I was doing a live stream on Twitch and says if this position, I'm getting this position without prep for both sides, I will definitely play it with the white pieces. But if black has preparations and if he still is in his preps, of course, this position I will play it with black because black is a piece up. But over the board, it's very hard to play it with black. So g takes f4. Prag makes a small inaccuracy. And now look at this move, castle. Rook takes f4 is coming. Prag plays the best move, which is rook h6. Rook takes g7. Now black is covering this square. Here, Prag goes very wrong. His calculations, he didn't calculate it very well in this position. The main line is to go king g7. But of course, the main line for white is rook f1, trying to penetrate with rook f6 or something else. And the best defense is a5. It's not so much computerish. I will say that this idea of putting the rook on a6, many chess players know this kind of defensive ideas. But after this, even it will end in some kind of perpetual check like this, queen check, king here, queen check here. Maybe Prag didn't like something like this. I don't say that he saw all of this, but even after rook f6, there are some lines that white can get a draw perhaps. Like probably at the end of the day, there will be some perpetual checks like this. There is a line like this. Chess can be very crazy if you see lines like this, queen e3 check, rook f2, queen check, and this game can end in a draw. So this is one of the lines. Usually this kind of very sharp positions ends like this, but Praggnanandhaa chooses king g8, which is still playable, and after rook f1, he should have still played a5. And the idea is to bring the rook to a6. In this position, it's not working almost. Engine was saying it is working, but now it says it doesn't work, because if you play like this, rook f6 and rook a6, the problem here is queen to g6, check, and after king h8, check, and after king here, some very strange move, rook to f4 is the idea. And white will win, because I don't know, some e6 is coming, I don't know what's going on, but white is, maybe rook h4 is the plan, and this king is so weak and these two pieces are going to attack it. Even computer at first didn't understood this. But the best and simplest way was to play bishop e6, rook f6. This is very hard to find because after queen h7 you will give back the piece like this and you come here, but you know that this position is somehow draw and black has some chances. But Praggnanandhaa, when he played king g8, his plan was to go bishop d7 and then put the bishop on c6. But it's a blunder because white has rook f7, and Sindarov couldn't believe his eyes that this happened over the board, because at the first moment he saw what's the tactic. In this position, white starts and win. Of course, rook f7, but can you see the follow-up? Because after rook f7, black can take it, and after rook take, king f7, black has a rook and a bishop against the queen, and he should win. But white has some forcing moves to win the game, and that's it. Rook f7, take, queen f4 check is the point, and white is going to pick up this bishop. Because now you need to protect the rook, he goes here, and now queen g5 check. And queen e7 is coming. You should protect the rook, he goes king h7, no, doesn't matter if here once again, here, king h7, check. He goes g8, maybe h8 was a little bit better, and then he plays rook f8. His only idea is to use some kind of lines, like some days come here. But Sindarov has no mercy. He plays queen g4 check, and then he plays a4. So he's waiting. You cannot move because I will just take here with check. So a5, and he goes queen g5. You move, and he goes e6. He doesn't want anything like a draw or something. He takes on this pawn, and if you here give a check, if you take here, I guess queen a8 is winning. Yeah, winning the other pawn. And black has no chance to come and start some kind of attack. So the game continues like this. He gives some checks. He takes this pawn and then brings the king. If you take here, there is always queen h6 taking here. White is so many pawns up. He just continues and he pushes the h pawn. Queen is so much strong, but white's king is also weak. Now we have two passers on the king side. They are just coming, and at the end of the game, he just plays queen d5 check. And the problem is if you go here, there's queen takes c5, and there is no chance for Praggnanandhaa to come back to this game, and Sindarov win this game with over 98% accuracy. Fantastic player, to be honest. Fantastic. Like, a year ago he was not like this, but in 2025 and now 2026 he's a completely different player. We always saw him on Title Tuesdays, some kind of other events with good points, like in Uzbekistan after Abdusattorov. We always considered him the second player, a good 2700 player, but now he's unstoppable, Sindarov, and he reached 8 points out of 10 games in, like, I will remind you that Magnus Carlsen in 2012, when he won the candidates, he gained 8 points out of 13 games. He was on 8 with Kramnik, and because of better tiebreaks, Magnus qualified at that time. But now he has 8 out of 10, and there is 4 rounds to go. Can he break some records? I don't know. And as I told you, his chance is now 94%, and his rating became 2773. So he is a great contender for the World Championship match, and I guess everyone should be afraid of him from now on. That's it for this video. We will see what happens in the next 4 rounds of the FIDE candidates. And if you like to support this kind of video, please like the video and share it with your friends, and remember always to enjoy chess and